It's the end of the line. Give me all your possessions.
You can't scare me.
Our story begins with Eddie. He's a kid who is scared of things. Anyways, his class is on a field trip to a forest. Hell yeah. They gotta look at plants. They gotta look at animals. Everyone's having a good time except for Eddie. And he trips and he gets scared by a spooky snake. But guess what? This girl named Courtney saves him from the spooky snake. And she's like, hey, green snakes aren't poisonous, you jackass. And now Eddie's pissed off at her. Later on, Courtney throws bees at her. So, just adding fuel to the fire. Anyways, his friends, they don't like her. They're like, we need to get back at her. We should try and scare her. And so it begins. They want to scare Courtney. They start out using a rubber snake inside of her lunch bag. But the teacher doesn't bring his lunch, and so he shares with Courtney, and instead he gets spooked. Then, after that, they decide to try dropping a tarantula on her head. Eddie and his friend Hat has to go into the science lab and steal a tarantula. They almost get caught, but they don't. And then, when it's time to drop the tarantula on Courtney's head, they miss, and instead drop it on Molly's head, one of their other friends. And they just kind of fail that one, obviously. Next up, they try to scare her using Charlene, the fourth friend's Saint Bernard. But he runs off, and later on Courtney finds him. And so now they're just really pissed off. But then Courtney gives them an idea, accidentally. 'Cause it turns out she believes in monsters. They convince her to go to Muddy Creek at night, because there's a legend that every year on a full moon, mud monsters show up to seek revenge or something like that. Anyways, they tell her that the mud monsters are gonna be there. She doesn't believe them. And then they accuse her of being too scared to do it. And then she goes. Anyway, so they're just setting it up so that Eddie's brother can show up with a couple of his friends dressed up as mud monsters and scare them. And they see a couple of the mud monsters. They're like, hey, cool, they showed up. But guess what? No, it wasn't them. And then a bunch more mud monsters show up. They're like, run, Courtney, run. And so they all run away. They're all pissed off that it didn't work out. So, they're just like, okay, we want to scare Courtney. But too bad, we're too scared.
I'm not afraid.
Yeah. It's been a ride. I guess I had to